Hey, so just a little quick video on how the graph system in GameRAT works. So any object in the game can have a graph attached to it. You just right click and go open graph, and that will open up a new graph editor for that object. Once the object has a graph, it'll show this icon, and then you can just click on that to open up the graph. So this is the graph for the main menu. It's got a bit of data set up for the window, the test buttons in the menu, and some scripting to deal with a few button presses, the escape button. So what exactly is going on here? Here we can see the keyboard, on key down, that sends out a signal with the key code of the key that was pressed. That goes into this equality node. It also goes into this get object value node, which I've named get escape key value, and here is an object of type key code, and I've called it escape key. So that's just an object. You can create any type of object you want. So and I could create a float or a boolean and just put it in here and use it as temporary storage, and do whatever I want with it. So that's what's going on here. This is just an object of type key code, and its value is the escape key. You could set that to any value you want, but in this case it's the escape key. So that this node gets the value of this object and sends it out as a signal. And then this signal will be, or the value of this signal will be the escape key. The value of this signal will be the key that you pressed, and this equal node will check if they're equal. And if they are, so you've pressed the escape key, it'll trigger the output with a true value. So that sends out a signal here, which will go into this AND node, which checks for A and B. It'll also go into this another get game object or get object value node. And this is, I've named get game started. So this gets the value of this boolean, whose value starts off as false. You could change that to true if you want, whatever you want. But for this case of the script, it starts off with being false because the game hasn't started yet. So this node gets the value of that object, which is false, and sends it out as a signal here, which is going to be false. So this will always evaluate to false, and it won't trigger the output until the game is started, which you deal with a little bit later. So this, before the game is started, does nothing. Won't do anything. Which is fine because the menu is already open when the game is started. It gets activated by the game environment. On game startup, trigger the flip-flop to open the menu. So that's essentially how the main menu is opened. Once the main menu is opened, it's got these 3 test buttons. When you push this first test button, it activates the scene. Once the scene has been activated, it triggers this output. I can't quite see it. Triggers that, which will trigger the flip-flop, which will either activate, but in this case deactivate the menu, because the menu is already activated. The output here also goes down to this other little block of code here, and triggers this get true bool. Here we've got another object which is I've just called true bool, and its value is true. So this get object value node will get the value of true and send it out with the signal, so this will be true. And then this is a set object value node, which is just the opposite of a get object value node. But it sets the value of this object to be true, because that's coming in through here. So once the game is started, you've pressed that button, this boolean becomes true, which means that when this node is activated, the output here will be true, and if you've pressed escape, this will be true, and if they're both true, it'll trigger the output of the flip-flop, and that will open or close, because it's a flip-flop, the menu. Test button 2 does nothing really at the moment. We've got an exit button. When you press that, it tells the game environment to exit the game, so the game will quit. So that's our very simple main menu script. Let's have a look how it works. So the game starts. There's our main menu and our 3 test buttons. Pressing escape does nothing. If I open up the game, we can see the game starts. And now, if I press the escape button, the menu will open. and close. and I can exit. And that's that.